end of the summer, and I fall in your arms. These days stay golden, and as the summer fades away, we ride through America again. Shape of the valley, all this place ain't changed. Leaves changing color.
Good morning, I'm here in Mount Rainier for one last trip. So I've been lucky that I've had 4 trips to Seattle in the last couple of months, and this is the final one. Now I was here about 3 weeks ago, and this was, well, maybe 2 months ago, and this was covered in snow and I couldn't do the trail. And now all the wildflowers out, it's in full bloom, and I'm really excited to be here today. So I'm going to hike the Skyline Loop by the High Skyline Trail. So it's 5.5 miles. Usually I've done it before and it's more close to 6 by the time we've done some of the viewpoints and things. But the car park here is already filling up. There's another parking lot just down the street. There's a hotel visitor centre, flush toilets, so it's quite plush. And I'm going to get started. Yeah, the first half a mile is all uphill. It's super steep. But the sun is rising up. On this side you get gorgeous colours over the range. Wildflowers are just insane at the moment. But it's definitely like one of those ones where you're like a bit short of breath. You know, in Mount Rainier there are so many amazing views, and I think if you were coming here on vacation, I think some people might be like, oh, but is it not just one mountain? But you can see from the videos that I've uploaded recently, every single visit that I've done has been completely different. There are different sides to the park with different offerings. I mean, right now, you know, you've got the sunrise colours behind me. You can see the sun is just kissing the top of the mountain. You've got all these wildflowers, running water, and it's kind of surreal that this is even a real place, because, you know, it is just so picturesque. The downside is the bugs, and, you know, if you watch my video from my Tuami Peak hike from Spray Park, bugs seem to be the issue. But I have come later in the year when the bugs aren't a problem, but you will sacrifice the wildflowers to be bug free. So I think you just got to suck it up, take the bites, take the pain, take the itching, and we're deep. So this trail junction, you can head up to the Alta Vista Trail and have a look at the view from up there. There's also these stunning views down into the valley. The sun is coming off up in the distance. Now I actually had a photo here, which I'm going to put on the screen now, a few weeks ago. So just here, you might not be able to see him, but there's a gorgeous fluffy marmot just watching the sunrise over his kingdom. He's a bit far away, I think, for the GoPro today, but I'm gonna try and zoom in so you can see, but he's gorgeous. At this point, you're about a mile, just over a mile into the trail, and there's a fork for Glacier Vista and obviously the skyline. And I'm going to just have a little look at the Glacier Vista. This view is insane. So this glacier, which you can see, I believe my finger's in the right place, it's just here, constantly traveling down from the mountain, growing, changing all the time. You've also got so many individual waterfalls all falling down, and you can see the glacier just finishing off here before it descends down into, I believe this is the Nisqually River, but I will stand corrected if I'm wrong. And you can see the river then meandering all the way down, and then there's the Park Road, Stevens Canyon Road, making its way over the river and then around, which will eventually obviously climb up and take you to Paradise, which is where I started my hike today. So just here you can see Mount St. Helens, so you can see the big crater. That was a lot different before the 80s when the eruption happened. And then just back onto the trail here, you can see we've got Mount Hood in Oregon, which is near Portland, just there, and then Mount Baker just here. So this vantage point, this vista, was so worth it. You can see the glacier making its way down the side of the mountain. You can see where the snowmelt is crashing down into a waterfall. It's all combining, and then the glacier slowly dies off as it comes down. But it's so incredible to see, and you can hear sometimes like the rocks move and the crashing of the ice. It's quite hard to see with the naked eye any movement though. But then all of this water goes down to the Nisqually River, and that's obviously going to provide water sources to so many millions of people in the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, really cool, really worth coming away from the Skyline Trail just to get that extra vantage point and to see it a little bit more up close. The sun is really starting to come out now, so I can see again Baker Hood and St. Helens really clearly with my naked eye, probably not with the GoPro. Some of the altitude and the climb is pretty steep, but there's lots of places you can rest, lots of places you can catch your breath, and you get just these gorgeous views looking down on the trail from where you've come from. So at this trail junction, if you're carrying on to Camp Muir to summit, you head this way, but for Skyline, it's this way. So it's here that you reach Panorama Point, and thus this makes the end of the Skyline Trail as it is. Look at this marmot crossing the street. And just this way is the high skyline. Hey dude. So here, the chain of volcanoes, a little bit more information about all of the mountains that are here. So I was wrong, it's not Baker, it's Adams. Wow, I was wrong. I told the lady I met that that was Baker, but it's not. And here we go, the gorgeous panorama point, just insane views all along the Cascade Range, all the volcanoes. You can see the parking lot just down here in the visitor centre and some of the trail. There's a marmot fast asleep just there. I'm going to take a pic of him. And then right behind me, the majestic as ever Rainier, standing tall. And up there is a toilet. And then I'm going to follow the high Skyline Trail all the way this way. So as you climb up from Panorama Point, which is just here, there's a series of rocky switchbacks, and then you come around right next to Rainier and follow the trail in towards the mountain. So at this junction here, it's quite faint to see, but it says High Skyline Trail, Golden Gate Trail, East Lakes Trail this way, Panorama Trail this way, sorry, Panorama Point this way, and 1.9 miles back to Paradise, or 2.7 this way. And there's the fork to the Pebble Creek Trail, and it's quite clear where the Skyline Trail is. So you come to another Panorama Point Plus, I guess, where the trail forks off to Pebble Creek, and that's another great viewpoint. And now you really are on the High Skyline Trail, so this is the section that's going to go all along the ridge before it starts to descend back down into the valley. And again, Helen's, Hood, Adams, really gorgeous. And yeah, it's just such a beautiful hike. It's not too difficult. There's some uphill, but most of the uphill's done now. And yeah, I've met some really nice people to chat to as well, which is always nice. And yeah. So with the exception of the people that are hiking the trail in a counterclockwise, this section is a lot quieter. Most of the traffic of people will finish their hike at either or of the panorama points. Not as many do the whole loop, mainly just because it's longer, and obviously the main sort of big viewpoint is achieved at that point, so to then go and do a longer hike for them probably makes no sense. It's roughly a mile longer to go back this way than to go back the way you came, but I think it's even better because you really get that sweeping view of everything, and there's a few people on the trail, but so I just raced into my backpack because I could see this shape running across the snow, and it was dark brown, blackish. I thought, oh my Christ, I've got a bear. And I frantically got the camera out. Didn't even get to change the setting. I just started clicking away. So I've tried to enhance some very dark pictures, which I'm going to put on the screen now for you. And I was like, oh my God, it's a bear. And so this huge tail. And I was like, that's not a bear. Bears don't have tails like that. It was and I've just zoomed in on my camera and looked at the pictures I've taken, and it was a badger. Please, I know it's not a bear, but that was still so cool. Something different to take a picture of, something different to see.
What I actually saw was the elusive wolverine. There are less than 30 in the whole state of Washington, and they only recently returned to Rainier in 2020 after a 100-year absence. So this sighting was a real treat and super rare. It's been verified, and it definitely is a wolverine.
I am about 2/3 of the way through the trail, and it's just meandering around the valley now and starting to descend. So yeah, I don't think there's any more huge vantage points other than the ones I've had, but there should be some really nice wildflowers and a waterfall a little later in the hike, and of course some more views of Rainier once I move away from this ridge. So following on from the previous trail junction, which is the last sort of shortcut to get back to Paradise, it's gone really quiet. So I'm so glad that I started early, and like I would always say to start this hike before sunrise or just at sunrise, and if you can just do it clockwise. You'll get the hardest section out of the way first while it's cooler, before the sun's up and before the crowds, and then you know, I've got this section pretty much to myself now, and you know, it's so alive. There's so much plants and birds and chipmunks and just everything. It's just there's so much. It just feels like Rainier really is like alive right now. And look at this, like this is insane. I would say the hike is not a hard hike, although AllTrail quotes it as a hard hike. I'd put it more as a moderate hike, to be honest. I think most people can do it if you take your time. Obviously you might take more than 3.5 hours to do it if you're struggling, but if you've got the time to play with, then absolutely get out on the trail and enjoy it. Ed? Oh, you are fluffy and lovely, aren't you? Is that nice? During the hike down, you'll pass more people who have started and they're going counterclockwise. There's a lot more wildflowers in this section because it's a little bit lower down. And you can see the visitor centre. You basically meander back around the ridge and then another climb up before a beautiful waterfall and then down to the visitor centre. So the trail, here's Rainier, and Panorama Point is way up there. The trail meanders along here and then up on this ridge side to go back over to the visitor centre. I'm almost back at the parking lot, but it's such a good hike, such amazing views. The waterfall at the end is cute, very crowded and touristy. Lots of kiddies and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely worth checking out as a little side trail. And the Skyline Trail is sublime.
At the end of your hike, don't forget to visit the visitor centre, and there's also a gift shop in there. There's a really cool topography map of the park where you can see where you've just been hiking. There's a great movie about the history of the park, rangers to ask questions to, and lots of other cool information about Rainier.
If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment below.
Memories of summer in a sunset haze. I'll never forget these golden days.